All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. God bless everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah. I do pray you and your family are super blessed. And, guys, I don't even know how to say it. But I went from feeling like this to feeling like this overnight. All right, I went from feeling like this to feeling like this overnight, guys. It turns out that yesterday, as we were waiting for Jerome Powell to come out the closet and flapping his gums, telling us exactly what the Bitcoin price action was going to do, we were making mention of how important it was that we understand the fact that it's not going to be the rate cut itself that's going to have an effect on the market, but it's going to be the comments he makes in the press conference after the fact. And yes, I am now speaking with a strange accent. Why? Is to help me cope with the fact that indeed the market is dumping. That indeed, ladies and gentlemen, we have seen the worst October in the history of all crypto, and I have to cope with the fact that is the worst October in the history of crypto. And Jerome Powell, honestly, he did have a bit of a hawkish tone yesterday, which is getting the market quite nervous. All right, we're going to be going over the key levels that we need to be watching out for and how we need to be ready to trade this price action today, guys. But as usual, we are going to be giving away $1,000 if we can get 1,000 likes within the first half hour of this stream. All right? $1,000, you don't have to sign up to an exchange. It's coming right from my dang crypto wallet to you. All you need to do is like the stream. Go ahead and share the stream on Twitter. All right? Go ahead and share the stream on Twitter. Did I even share the stream on Twitter? I didn't share the stream on Twitter? Hang on. Yeah, I shared it on Twitter. Guys, go share the stream on Twitter. Alright, get your mom, your mom's girlfriends, friends into here to like the dang video. Alright, also, shout out to the sponsors of the channel. First of all, KCEX. What's she gonna do next? Lowest fees in the game. Link in the pinned comment in the chat. Also, guys, currently trading on WEEX. Make sure to check it out. Also, some very low fees. Trading on BLOFIN as well. Alright. Let's see who we got in the chat right now. I'm currently in 3 Bitcoin positions. I'm in the longs. This is still the same long I was in yesterday, guys. The long I have been in since last week. Okay? And we have come down to a very, very key level, just dipping below $108,000, a very key level. We still have the short open from the setup that was given in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. Told the community when I took the trade on October 6th. Currently have $20,000 on that short, as well as the short trade from this Monday, the hedge short that we took at the top of this range after taking the long from the bottom of the range. This one is currently up about $4,000 or so, $5,000. All right, let's see who we have in the chat right now. Guys, make sure to smash up the dang likes. We got to give a major shout out to Robert. We got to give a major shout out to Graham. We got to give a major shout out to Dog World. We got to give a major shout out to Senor. We got to give a major shout out to Mickey8751 and Omariol7866. Shout out to Chewy. Shout out to Lord P7P. Shout out to Crypto Pleb 105 next in your opinion. Shout out to Preparing for War. He says easy peasy. God bless you, Preparing for War. Shout out to Anomal Sound Alchemy. Get those likes, baby. Shout out to Joe Rodriguez or Jay Rodriguez. Too much crypto manipulation, not good. Major shout to Flippa Frank. Major shout to Tony1188. Bears eating good today. Shout out to John Blake 695. I'm happy to experience this. Shout out to Sean who says Coke with the facts, baby. And do we have a Coke in the house? Shout out to Steak Sauce. Shout out to Greeny Ninja 3244. You appreciate the TA. God bless you. God bless you. Shout out to Levi Schmaze. XI holds the cards on the Bighorn. Shout out to Durianji1462. You're right, Jay. You say we're in the bear market. Salute. Well, look, I did say that I believe that the top is generally in, and that I wasn't saying that the exact high price was in, but look, I'm just going to say this, okay? I'm just going to say this. I've been saying that I believe that the top is in generally, meaning if we go to like a 2-month chart in hindsight, it's going to be pretty clear that the top is in. All right, we posted this chart on X saying, what do you think happens next? This is the Bitcoin chart upside down, looking very, very bullish upside down. So when the chart looks bullish upside down, well, it's a bearish chart, okay? Now again, we'll go over exactly what I'm looking for, targets and all that stuff. We're going to get right into the Bitcoin analysis here. But first of all, October is disappointing, people. All right, with Thursday, which is today, with the decline of Bitcoin today, Bitcoin is on track for the worst October in more than a decade. This is actually historic, a historic dump for Bitcoin. All right. Cryptos and related stocks moved sharply lower on Thursday, setting up Bitcoin for its worst October in years, following the Federal Reserve's surprisingly hawkish turn on Wednesday. Very interesting. Bitcoin down about 7% since we hit the top of that range just a few hours ago, where we took the head short in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. All right. Check this out as well. Powell's comments yesterday during the press conference are hinting that investors should not count on an interest rate cut in December. So, Chair Powell came out a little bit more hawkish than we had hoped yesterday, although he did get the rate cut and said a whole bunch of nothing during the press conference. The key takeaways here that people are paying attention to is the fact that he's saying things are not as rainbows and butterflies as we had hoped. In fact, don't count on rate cuts in December. This is a little bit concerning for us crypto investors who are hoping for a big old rally in the last few months of 2025. Very interesting here, but look at this. The global crypto market fell about 3% today. 8 of the top 10 coins are in the red. Bitcoin dropped 3.5%, actually more than that, because this was written a while ago. The Federal's 25 beats per second rate cut and the end of quantitative tightening in December signal returning liquidity. Interesting. So look, really what's funny is here, you got people saying he's not going to cut rates in December. Other people say, look, they're going to end quantitative tightening. No one really knows what's going on. One thing we can say for sure is the fear and greed index right now is in straight up fear. People are in fear. We're seeing Bitcoin ETFs, $470 million of outflows. Ethereum ETFs, $81 million worth of outflows. The market right now is feeling scared. The market right now is feeling bearish. All right, now it's important to understand these things just to keep our pulse on what is happening in the minds of people as we come into the charts. All right, I'm not saying that we should not be trading this news, but it's important to know. We've seen over $500 million liquidated in 24 hours. All right. I myself had a very bad day of trading yesterday. Tried to take 3 longs yesterday. All 3 ended up in losses. All right. All 3 of my longs ended up in losses yesterday. So it was a really horrible, one of the worst days I've had in trading in a very long time. To be honest with you, I was expecting that we were going to get a dump and pump for Jerome Powell's press conference. Okay, and that brings us right to the Bitcoin chart. We're going to start on our daily time frame here, because as we know, we were saying yesterday, there is a chance here that we are forming some very bullish signs as we got the old drop. In fact, as the price came down to make these lows, coming down to the very, very important area around $105,000, depending on which exchange you look at, the daily time frame was giving us the coveted bullish divergence. All right, the coveted. In fact, if we go to the 3-day time frame real quick, we can really see the coveted uneven butt cheek pattern printing here on Market Cipher B, where we have a very juicy, thick left butt cheek full of gravy, ravioli, ricotta cheese. The full fat ricotta cheese. None of this part skim nonsense you buy nowadays. No, the full fat of the ricotta cheese, which is not organic, it's not raw, it's full of hormones and antibiotics and all that kind of stuff, but nonetheless it's full fat on the left, followed by the skinny butt cheek on the right, giving us the bullish divergence. We're saying, okay, we've got a confirmed bullish divergence here. If Jerome Powell comes out dovish and we see a bullish reaction, well, that could signal more upside, but we have not seen a bullish reaction. In fact, the market's reacted very bearishly to the press conference, and now we're actually starting to print the red dot here. Okay, not the best sign in the world. Of course, 3-day printing dots are not going to give us an entry, no way, but they can kind of tell us what might happen in the future. All right, we are seeing the momentum once again crossing the 0 line on the 12-hour time frame. Not the best look for Bitcoin. Yes, we had the bullish divergences at these lows, but after rejecting from the top of the range at around $115,000, we are back down now toward the low of the range. Where we are at right now, guys, is going to be a very, very important and telling area for Bitcoin, and here's why. If we go down to our 4-hour time frame, we have to understand that, yeah, this is the sideways range that we've been trading here, guys, ever since October 10th, right? Clearly defined highs right here. I'd say our clearly defined low is going to be right around down here, let's say around $103,000, okay? We came to the top of the range, we came to the bottom of the range, we came to the top of the range, now we're back toward the bottom of the range, and if we pull the volume here, you can see, unfortunately, guys, we have broken down from the value area low. We got a little bit of a bounce from here yesterday, but unfortunately, after a really nice looking 4-hour candle, we rejected from the POC of the range at around 111.2, and now we're back closing below that value area low. This is not the best look in the world. If we go to the daily time frame, if we close today's candle below the price of $108.9 thousand, that is a very big support loss with a candle close on the daily time frame. That's really not a good look, especially since we have the confirmed now bearish momentum on the daily time frame. Okay, so this zone must hold right here. What I have right here on the chart is this box right here. It's between the Fibonacci golden pocket and the 786. All right, we go ahead and we just put a little box here. This is going to be the zone that must hold right now. This is the zone at the bottom of the local range that must hold. If we are closing candles in this box and not seeing a bounce, that is really not a great look for Bitcoin. And here's why. If we zoom out a little bit more, we can see that we have two potential ranges here. The potential range number one is going to be this range, right? Which so far has been respected, right? We came to the top of the range. We took the short trade from literally the exact top of the range from the setup that was given in advance in the Casper Crew VIP Discord at jasoncaspertrading.com, and I let the community know. I took the trade around $126,000. Then we came back down to the bottom of the range where we did take a long trade from here. All right, and we did ride it up. We hit that take profit one in the Casper Crew VIP Discord from the setup, given in advance in the Casper Crew. Let people know when I took the dang trade. Okay, hanging on for dear life here after a take profit one, and of course the head short, right? So yeah, I'm holding the trade still open, but I've already taken a profit one on it, and I've hedged myself against it. We're already realizing some profits here. Okay, this is our first range up here. So look, this green box right now, this must hold. If this green box, this little green box here, doesn't hold, guess what? Well, then we have to be looking at this range over here. This is the next range to be trading, guys, where we have our low at just under $100,000 and our high at about $123,000. That's going to be the next major support coming in below $100,000. In addition to that, if we take all the volume that we've traded here, you can see that the high volume node going all the way back to the time that Trump wins the election is also right underneath $100,000. So yeah, that means if we're not going to hold this, the probabilities say we're going to go for a new low, and that new low is going to be right around this box I've got drawn here, this green box right here, sub $100,000, and then we're going to be looking to trade this sideways range where we have our clearly defined low and our clearly defined high. And yeah, we would look to come down here for a bounce around the low of the range and then eventually a move back to the top of the range, right? That is just objectively speaking the next key level that we have here on the chart. Now, what else do we have there? If we take the Fibonacci macro golden pocket from the low to the high, go ahead, give it a nice little pull. You can see that we also have the Fibonacci golden pocket coming in. And I'd say we could extend this as a major swing trade zone. Point of control, value area low, golden pocket. We have three major confluences right here. Three major confluences, three things intersecting right here. All right, talk about intersectionality, if you know what I mean. All right, shout out to all the fat, white, ambiguously gendered college students majoring in trans, non-carbon, binary emission, gender intersectionality studies. I myself, being a graduate of that same university, this is a picture of me as I graduated, actually. And yeah, so I learned a lot about intersectionality, getting that degree. Unfortunately, $500,000 in debt, couldn't get a job. I don't know why. I was a trans, non-carbon, binary, emission, gender, intersectionality studies expert, but they said, we need experience. Whatever. So that's when I learned how to trade. And I realized I could use my intersectionality skills to look for those key areas on the chart, like this one down here, to look for a potential swing long. Now, here's what we really need to understand. If we do, guys, if we do come down to sub $100,000 Bitcoin, this opens up the door. Hear me, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm never saying that. Anything's possible, but once we start coming down below this low here, we are changing market structure on the weekly, guys. Not a good look. Not a good look at all for Bitcoin. All right, we have never really done something like that before, right? We've already broken out of this range here. So if we come back down, we make a lower low, that is not going to be a good look. That does open up the door now for a lower high and then eventually another lower low. Okay? It does open up the door for something like this. Now again, look, here at the Jason Casper YouTube channel, we are very objective. All right? We're not married to one direction or another because we're here to trade Bitcoin. We're here to make money on the volatility. We're here to short the exact top. Okay? And make money. Why? Well, because we're bullish on Bitcoin. And if I can make money when Bitcoin goes down, guess what? That means I can get more Bitcoin than the other person that's just hodling the whole way through, watching the number go up and watching the number go down, right? You're making money on the way down so you can buy Bitcoin low, right? So it's always an opportunity in these markets, no matter what. Now, if we flip this chart upside down here, all right, let's just invert the scale. We'll go ahead and we'll put on good old market cipher B. We'll also flip this thing upside down. Again, this is a chart I posted on X, but if you were to see something like this, let's say on the weekly time frame, okay, and you said to yourself, wow, would you look at this? The Bitcoin price has formed a really nice bottom here, okay? We have a really nice bottom here. We formed some liquidity. We took the liquidity. We're back inside the range. And we have extremely bullish divergence on market cipher B, right? Money flow is getting higher, momentum's getting higher. You would say to yourself, we're in a macro downtrend, right? But it looks like at least we can come back to backtest this level right here, right? You would actually be expecting this. Why? Well, because this is a sideways range. And yes, we're in a macro downtrend, but you'd say to yourself, yeah, we're in a macro downtrend, so we expect lower, but it looks like we're ready for a retracement to come back and tap into some key support resistance flips. Come to the top of the range, get a little fake out from the top of the range, and then continue with the downtrend, right? When have we seen that before? When have we seen Bitcoin come to the top of the range, get a little fake out, and then reverse? I don't know. Maybe we just saw that literally this week where Bitcoin was forming a sideways range. We came to the top of the range, just fake out a little bit, just to backtest the support resistance flip that we had over here before another drop, right? This is just the way price action moves, guys. All right? Again, this is just a real possibility. I'm going to stick to my view that the top is in, relatively speaking, generally speaking, I should say, where, you know, if we're on a high time frame, like the 2-month time frame, we'll be able to look back in time and clearly identify that this box right up here was the top, all right? That this box right around here was the top, right? And yeah, that could include a move up to 130K, right? But it will be clear that this zone was the top. Just like back here, this zone was the top. Did we come up and make a higher high? Yeah. But we're seeing all the writing on the wall right now. We're seeing the handwriting on the wall, guys. Mene, tekel ufarsin. All right, we're drunk. We're drunk at a party while the Persians are surrounding our palace and we don't even care. All right? Now, let's see. Let's erase this stuff, okay? Let's erase this stuff real quick. I want to talk about, first of all, we have to understand that this is on a level-to-level basis. If we're going to hold $108,000, we can't be too concerned, okay? If we don't hold $108,000, well, then we should expect to move below $100,000, okay? Where we should look for a bounce. If we're not going to get a bounce below $100,000, then I think, objectively speaking, the next major target is going to be right around here, between $65,000 and $75,000. All right. between $65,000 and $75,000. If we're not going to hold our key support at the Fibonacci golden pocket from the last low to the high, right? If we're not going to hold this key support, the retracement, the 61.8% retracement from here, that means there's a very low probability now that this is actually a retracement, right? It's just probability. If you're not going to bounce from the 61.8% retracement, it becomes lower probability that you're actually going to get that this is a retracement. It's more that it's just a full-on reversal and we're back down to the low of the range, okay? Now, in both of these situations, whether we get a bounce from the POC value area low of our more upper range here or down here, these are both excellent areas of support to be looking for a bounce. And here's the thing. People say the 4-year cycle is broken. There's no way we're going to get a 70% pullback again. There's too much money in Bitcoin. Okay, let's run with that for a little bit. Because this time is different. Remember back in January 2024, what happened in January 2024? It was the scheduled bear market dump. It was the scheduled bear market rally dump. All right, the halving hadn't happened yet, and Bitcoin had tapped into the Fibonacci 618, where historically speaking, every single market cycle ever in history, when Bitcoin came up to the 618, guess what? 50-60% pullback. We come up to the 618. I myself shorted it, obviously, because historically speaking, we get a big pullback here. Guess what? We didn't get as big of a pullback last time. Why? Well, because the ETF had launched, and we had a lot of ETFs money coming into the market. So instead of getting a 50% pullback, we got a 20% pullback. Okay? So let's just assume now that the 4-year cycle is still going to kind of work as scheduled, but because there is more money in the market, we're not going to see as crazy as pullbacks. What does that mean? That means right around now, right around the end of this year, beginning of next year, we should expect a large pullback on Bitcoin. That also means that we can have maybe some higher targets. So instead of a 75-80% pullback, maybe we just see, you know, a 30% pullback, just dipping below 100K, right? Or maybe we see like a 50% pullback coming down to the $65,000 to $75,000 zone. Whatever the case, if we were to zoom out of this chart, Bitcoin being a very bullish asset, the most bullish asset in all of human history, how amazing would this look? It would look amazing. It would look absolutely amazing, right? So that's what we got here with the Bitcoin price. I do want to take a quick look right now at Ethereum. All right, Ethereum, because look, we've seen Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF outflows out the wazoo today. Let's see how ETH is handling this, okay? So here's what I really do not like about ETH right now, guys. This is what I don't like about ETH. ETH right now is about to close a weekly candle in 3 days below this macro triangle trend line, which we have been respecting perfectly since 2021. As you see, this was the all-time high in 2021. It was our top in December 2024. Now, after getting a bounce from this, guess what? We are about to close a weekly candle back inside after a fierce battle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of actually holding that area as support. Not the best look for Ethereum. So what does this mean? Well, here's what it means for ETH. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull our Fibonacci from the low to the high. Just like Bitcoin, we do have a very key support dipping down just below here, where we've got ourselves the value area low of the range, the POC, the Fibonacci golden pocket, the support resistance flip. All right, just like Bitcoin, if we see continued downside, we would expect this area to bounce. All right, this is going to be a very key area. Assuming more upside is in the future, this is going to be a very key area. Am I saying that we're not going to see upside in the future? No, we very well may. And this is the area where we need to be watching. All right, this is around the $3,000 level, give or take, the $3,000 level for ETH. What is key resistance for Ethereum right now? Well, I would say back at the top of the range around 4,666. But more so, I would say for Ethereum, if we do start to hold this, I think this structure in and of itself does look very bullish, okay? If we can hold 3,300, basically the halfway of this channel, then this right here, objectively speaking, is a bit of a bull flag, guys. We had a big wick down. It looks actually like a nice bull flag. We're forming liquidity to the upside, and we could get a big push up to our next major fib target at around $7,000, right? take the flagpole measurement from here. So it's very key right now that we, this is not, it's not on log scale, so it's a little bit messed up with the lines, but it's very key right now that we are holding $3,300 on ETH. Let's go ahead and turn on market cipher B, weekly time frame. There is, well, unfortunately, we've got ourselves more downside is possible. Let's go to the daily time frame. Market cipher B, how's she looking? It looks like momentum's ticking back down here. Again, what's going to be super important is that we hold a higher low, right? We need to hold a higher low. We cannot close a candle below these previous lows. We do that, I'd say it kind of invalidates these bullish divergences that we have down here. All right, let's go to our 4-hour time frame on ETH. 4-hour time frame on ETH. Here's what I see, guys. I do see a potential right here locally on ETH for something like this to happen. Whenever you see slightly higher lows like this, this is actually a recipe for a stop hunt. This is a recipe for a big dump. This is a recipe for taking the liquidity and then getting a reversal. So here's what I would be looking for locally on ETH. If Bitcoin is going to hold the bottom of its range, if ETH gets a fake out of 3,640 and then a move back above, well, guess what? We have money flow getting higher here. And by the time we come down there on these lower time frames, we'll have plenty of time to form some bullish divergence, aka some uneven butt cheeks like this. All right, to get a little bit of a bounce. Now, there's, speaking of ETH and speaking of altcoins in general, okay? Again, remember, when the market is very bearish like this, when things get too bearish, that's when we get the reversal, right? Right now we're in extreme fear. Everybody's bearish. Twitter's bearish. All the news outlets are bearish. We have to take a step back and realize, okay, what's actually happening here? Bitcoin is literally still in the same sideways range that we've been in since October 10th, okay? Nothing too crazy has happened here. Why do I bring this up? Well, because remember, there's still a chance that this is a bullish pattern, and there's still a chance that we hold the bottom of the range, and there's still a chance that we see more upside. Now, if that's the case, we have to take a look at what's happening right now with altcoin dominance, all right? Because we looked at this a little bit yesterday, but are we seeing something similar to what happened at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, where we saw a big blow off top with altcoins, right? We have this support resistance flip that we formed right here on altcoin dominance, right? We had the bull market top, we had the bear market bottom, then we formed this resistance here during the bear market. As soon as we get a big breakout and back test of that resistance, boom, all right? We formed a bear market resistance. We get a breakout, get a back test numero uno, back test numero dos. We are holding key support right now on altcoin dominance. In fact, if we take a look at the total 3 chart, we go to our weekly time frame here, you can see, wow, this does not look the worst. All right, this does not look the worst. That October 10th wick looking pretty good. And we saw literally, if we take a look here, from 700 million to almost 1.2 trillion, with like $500 million come into dang altcoins in like a week, okay? We're also seeing money flow getting thicker here on, this is total 3 excluding Bitcoin and ETH, right? Total market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH. We're seeing money flow come up a little bit. This is the 1 week. We go down to our 2-day time frame. Looking a little bit ambiguous here. Looking a little bit ambiguous. But nonetheless, one could still make a case that as long as we are holding bullish market structure, we could see a move to the upside. Again, this is not a reason to enter into any position. This is just important information to keep in the back of our minds, because look, trading should always be if-then scenarios. If Bitcoin's going to hold key support, then we know that the altcoin market cap is looking bullish based on market structure. And we also know that altcoins charts themselves, like AVAX, which literally took the low of the bear market and got a big wick to the upside, forming bullish divergences, looks really bullish. We know the XRP chart is looking really bullish. We know the Solana chart is looking really bullish. We know that the Chainlink chart is looking extremely bullish. We have bullish divergences. We've taken major liquidity on all these assets, right? Look at Chainlink coming down to back test the bear market low. All right, there is still hope here, so long as Bitcoin doesn't enter into free fall mode and lose $100,000 right now. All right, so that's why it's if-then scenarios. If Bitcoin can hold support, well, there is still hope for money rotating back into altcoins. We take a look at Bitcoin dominance here, and Bitcoin dominance is looking bearish. All right, the weekly Bitcoin dominance. Look, we had this ascending channel. We broke to the downside. We back tested on October 10th. Now we're forming another ugly looking bear flag channel here, with our target looking to be around 54%. Bitcoin dominance looking out to take out the low from December 2024. All right, this was December 2024. This was our last altcoin season. This is Trump coin pumping, meme coin pumping, that big dip that we had in Bitcoin dominance back last year. We're looking to take out that low, okay? So again, we need to just take it level by level. I'd say Bitcoin for me is the first thing I look at. And speaking of Bitcoin, let's take a look at USDT dominance, because this USDT dominance is actually a predictor of bear markets in general, bear and bull markets. All right, now we can see here on the weekly time frame, we are forming this bearish descending triangle, right? We are forming a bearish descending triangle. However, there is still room here for a little bit more upside for USDT dominance up to the trend line around 5.75% before a rejection back down to the lows. All right. Now, this was our bear market back in 2022. We were right around USDT dominance at the top of the bull market was pretty much right down here. All right, then the bear market happened. Boop, USDT dominance pops up, right? So we still have room here to consolidate before we get like an actual break of this thing and get a move back towards the upside. All right, we've still got some room for consolidation here, and that's going to be right around the beginning of 2026, exactly when you would expect a bear market to happen, okay? So just remember here, USDT dominance right now, yes, it's going up in the moment, it's pumping in the moment, but we're still within consolidation, and I'd say until we break this trend line, there is still hope, especially since we're looking December, January, really, that's kind of when we would expect things to actually start to take a turn for the worst if the bear market is actually going to start here, okay? That's where I would say things could take a turn for the worst. All right, so we're going to pop on back right now. The Bitcoin chart, just to quickly recap here for Bitcoin, guys. All right, what are my lines in the sand here? Well, $108,000 close above, I'd say, is very, very important, right? Last week's weekly open, we do not want to be closing weekly candles below last week's weekly open, which is at exactly around 108.6, or I'd say this weekly low here, 107.5 at the absolute worst, right? We don't want to be closing weekly candles below this low. It's okay that we had a wick below. It's okay that we kept, man, it looked really good last week, guys, when we got that back test and a big pump, right? But yes, if we close the candle below this level, objectively speaking, guys, based on this chart, because this is based on volume here, and this is the value area high, if we're losing this, we say, man, we got a harsh move down, we got a back test of the value area high, and yes, our next target is going to be the zone right here at our next big support around just below $100,000. If we can bounce from here, excellent. We'll be looking for bullish signs back toward the top of the range. Cautiously understanding this could be the beginning of a major downtrend, heading us down between $65,000 and $75,000. Both of these areas, definitely long zones, okay? If you're a swing trader, you're definitely looking for a long from this area. All right, you're definitely looking for a long from this area. And you would be looking to long this zone here and take a profit one around the Fibonacci golden pocket 786 value area high. Right, at least a TP1 there, hold some in case the bull market continues, right? Because it's a super cycle this time, right? We're also going to have to be looking for a short here, and that short, we're going to have to be looking to hold it down towards around the price of $65,000 to $75,000, something like this. In which case, we're also, as a swing trader, we're very, very interested in $65,000 to $75,000 because it's the back test of the previous all-time high in this consolidation. in which case we're also looking for a major swing trade from this zone. Once again, we're either looking for a new all-time high here, depending on when this happens. If this happens summer and fall of 2026, then yeah, we'd be looking for a major bottom here, right? Back to a new all-time high. And this time, next time, I'd say we could see $150,000, $200,000, $200,000 Bitcoin, right? Something like this. If that's going to be our bottom, we could be looking for something like this, right? Now, there's other levels we have here in the event that we are going to have a 70% pullback, but we're not going to talk about that in this stream just for the sake of THYME, which is an herb. It's an herb, okay? And I grow it in the garden. And it tastes very good, especially on poultry, if you're into that. If you're not a vegan, then you might be into poultry. If you are a vegan, I don't mean to offend you, all right? I ain't got no hate for my vegans out there. Uh-oh, Bitcoin taking a tumble here, all right? This is my last hope. I've got this long run in here as a last hope, all right? Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. We've got over 1,000 people in the house, only 300 likes. Make sure to smash up the likes, guys. Are we doing a KCEX giveaway today? No, but if everybody likes the stream, we'll do a $1,000 giveaway. What do I think about the 5-minute chart? Are we talking about Bitcoin? Here's what I think about the 5-minute chart on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at it. Looks like not the best. Looks really not the best here. I know what some people might say, that we're forming bullish divergence, but we had our chance right here with the bullish divergence. We had our chance here. We formed a low. We bounced from a daily order block. We bounced. We made a higher. We made a lower low. We failed to make a higher high here. It doesn't look the best. All right. That's my opinion of this chart. It doesn't look the best. I know we have bullish divergence on the 5-minute, but I feel like this one right here should have really been the one that played out. Okay. Let me check out my favorite time frame, the 6-minute. I don't like the way money flow looks. Let's check out our 12-minute. I just don't like the way it looks, man. I'll be honest. I don't like the way Market Cypher B is looking here. By the way, guys, if you want to trade Bitcoin and altcoins with very low fees, 0% limit order, 0.01% market order, check out KCEX. KCEX also, link in the pinned comment in the YouTube right here. KCEX also allows you to withdraw without paying any fees. Now look at this here, the poll. Are we going to see a new Bitcoin all-time high in 2025? 59% say yes. So I hope you guys are right. I hope you guys are right. We need to see a bounce very quick, guys. It's going to be November, the day after tomorrow. All right, we need to see a bounce very quick. It's going to be November, the day after mañana. A 1-minute 95K dump candle. That'd be crazy. Shout out to Fit in Crypto. He says, just in and hit the like. Guys, if you're in crypto and you're not fit, it's time to get fit. All right, look at Fit in Crypto, man. He's fit. He's in the gym. He's flexing the triceps. All right, that's what you got to do. It's like Nelly rapping, going down, down, baby. Forgot about that song. Shout out to Gitch Darrow, 1611. Like the stream. Shout out to Matt. It's so hard to read these names now that YouTube took away all spaces. It's crazy. 8K incoming, says My Passive Freedom. All right, check COAI. All right, we'll check COAI because a lot of people have been interested in COAI. Let's take a look at the COAI chart, all right? COAI. Everyone's been talking about COAI. Chain Opera, all right? Chain Opera. Let's take a look. What do we see? Well, it looks like a rug pull, you know? It listed for 2 weeks on MEXC. It got a move of, about 27,000%. And then we gave back about 95%. Looks like a rug pull coin, all right? We don't really have much data here. We don't have much data to work with here. We're below all major retracements here, like big time. We don't have a lot of data to look for any kind of support or resistance. You know, the next major support that we would have, if we're actually looking to trade this rug pull scam coin, what it looks like from the chart, would have to be around $1.73 liquidity. And if we're not going to hold $1.73, then our next support is going to be around this consolidation right here, between 34 and 41 cents. Okay. Yeah. So this is crazy. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, this is insane, man. You know, look at this. In 8 hours, the thing pumps. 666%. I mean, come on, guys. I don't know about you, but I mean, this looks like an Illuminati rug pull, man. This looks like a dang Illuminati rug pull. All right, everyone's been interested in this thing. All right, sheesh. Major shout out to our super chat. Way WKS. Can you look short-term ETH? Yeah, let's take a look at short-term ETH. All right, short-term Ethereum here. I'd say for me, short-term ETH, I would be looking for a quick liquidity grab of these lows. All right, quick liquidity grab of the lows here, which we're already starting to get right now. We're losing the trend line. I would look for us to take all this, every single one of these higher lows, with some bullish divergence, and I would look for a reclaim of that level locally, something like this. And then I would be very interested in trading that up to around the Fibonacci Golden Pocket 786 retracement here. Let me make your comments smaller on the screen so we can see here. I'd be very interested in trading that up to, just trading this sideways range right around this area. Trading this up to basically around the POC value area high, and then potentially a move down to around 3,300. This is kind of my short-term outlook on ETH. Looking for a bounce if we take the liquidity at 3,640. A move up to at least a take profit one around 4,000. And then either, you know, enter a hedge or close the long, enter a short, whatever you do with your risk management, down to potentially take the lows that we have right here at 3,300. All right, that's kind of how I would be interested in trading that short-term on the ETH. Thank you so much for the super chat, WKZ. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. God bless you. May Jesus bless you. Bitcoin breaking below the previous monthly low. Let's check it out right now. Let's go to the monthly. Yep, we are breaking below the previous monthly low. We do not want to close a candle below this. Guys, if we do, I mean, again, look at this here, right? Objectively speaking, when you reject from a value area high like that, and you close the candle below the candle bodies, it's not looking good. We put on a line chart here, all right? Look at this on the line chart, guys. Right? We're already making lower lows here already. So we closed that week below. Oof. It is not going to look good. It's going to be looking like we would come down to our next support. Like, clear all the noise. You know, there's so much noise and news, but really, this is what we want. Man, Bitcoin losing 107,000 right now. Oh my goodness. I'm risking about $2,000 right now on this long. It looks like I'm about to get a $2,000 loss here. It's going to be one of the worst trading weeks of my life, man. We're going to be down about 5K just from long trades on the week. Sheesh, man. That is a really bad trading week for me. Thankfully, you know, I'm up 27K plus another 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. I'm up 32K, but I've given 5,000 of that back, so sheesh, man. Our last hope really is a bounce from this 786 right here. All right, and then we're probably, if we don't bounce from 106, then we're probably going back down to 100K. I hate to say it, man. I hate to say, but it just is what it is, man. It just is what it is. Make sure to hit the likes, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Smash up the likes and subscribe to the channel. Last day of the month on a Friday. All right, last day of the month on a Friday. Shout out to Bullish on Parade. Bitcoin weekly upside down. Fib from 15K all the way down to 126. All right, shout out to Bullish on Parade, man. He always coming in with these crazy analyses here. Let's go ahead and pull our fib real quick on Bitcoin so that we can be aware if we hit that 786, which is the last hope, in my opinion. It's the last hope, in my opinion. Go ahead and put a little thing right here, a little alert. All right, so we're gonna go to the weekly upside down Bitcoin chart. Invert. All right, and we're gonna pull it from the bear market to the top. All right, 15K to the top. And we're gonna see where our fib levels are. Okay, so the golden pocket is gonna be right around under 60K, around 57. I mean, That's a little bit lower than I'd like, but I'd say it's a viable target. Here's the thing. If we're heading into a bear market, guys, and I'm not saying we 100%... Well, let me qualify this. I believe that we are, but I don't necessarily believe that the all-time high is in yet. I'm open for one more big push to the upside, but in general, as far as the high time frame, if we're on the monthly, if we're on the 2-month, the top is in, okay? Why do I say that? Well, because on the 2-month time frame, we have bearish divergence about to confirm in one day. All right, the 2-month bearish div is the top every single time, all right? I'm not going to ignore 2-month bearish divergence confirmed. But look, if the bear market is in, if the 4-year cycle is intact still, you know, every single time we come down to the 786, 886 fib every single time, right? Which basically means this. If we're going to continue the pattern, if the top is in, we could see a $40,000 Bitcoin, right? Just based on the fib retracement, okay? So that is, in my opinion, you know, between the 786 and the 886, that is going to be between $30,000 and $40,000, give or take. I know that sounds shocking to people, but let me just tell you, if this is your first crypto cycle, 15K sounded utterly shocking and appalling when we were at 70K. And let me tell you, $3,000 seemed utterly shocking and appalling when we were at 20K. All right, you have to understand that it sounds crazy now, guys, but remember, I mean, just about, you know, 2 years ago, we were at that price. I mean, and we were at that, this, you know, we spent a lot of time at a 40K Bitcoin, right? We were there basically a lot in 2020, 2021, 2022. We were there again in 2023, you know? Again, I'm trying to remain as objective as possible here, guys. I'm trying to remain as objective as possible. Bullish on parades, had a lot of coffee. Take it easy with the coffee. 40K would be incredible. I mean, I agree. I agree. If Bitcoin is at 40K or below, I'm going to irresponsibly buy Bitcoin. If 40K or below, I'm going to irresponsibly buy. All right. I'm going to irresponsibly buy, and I'm going to make an irresponsible amount of profits on it, most likely. All right. Nothing's guaranteed in trading. Next level to the downside right now is going to be our 786 at around 106,269. And looking fine. Girl, you looking so fine, you know I want to make you mine. You know? All right. Let's do the unthinkable and take the COVID lows. Oh my goodness, can you imagine that, Houston? Make sure to smash the likes, guys. 1,300 viewers, 400 likes. Come on, man. That hurts the dang self-esteem up in here. This is not looking good for Bitcoin losing its golden pocket. I know, right, Divine Hood? Sheesh, man. Shout out to Divine Hood, man. Make sure to check out Divine Hood Trading's channel. Search on YouTube. If Bitcoin goes down that low, altcoins will go to zero. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just stay literally where they are. I mean, look, most of the market cap is in Bitcoin, right? Let's check that out real quick. Total crypto market cap, all right? The total crypto market cap right now is higher than it was in 2021 by about $500 million. That's not so much. But think of it this way. Back in 2021, we saw altcoins at higher prices than they are right now. Most altcoins have not even hit new all-time highs, which means most of this money right now is in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin does have room to get a big move to the downside, and altcoins might just come back down to their same old support at the bear market lows, which honestly, ironically, we literally just saw for some of these. I mean, literally, we wicked down to the bear market low. We've seen this on some of these. So I think there is room for, you know, altcoins not to be affected too much, right? I don't think we're going to lose. I don't think we're going to enter into lower prices than what we've already seen here. All right. Wow, the sun is coming out a little bit today. It rained all day, and now the sun is out. Alrighty. Gold. Someone says, check out gold. Let's check out gold. Wow. Okay, gold is starting to get a little bit of a bounce after taking out these lows here. But again, we were looking at gold. Let's check out this here. This other chart we had here, looking at gold. And we were saying, man, oh man, this does not look the best for gold with this crazy parabola. So let's see what happens with this. All right. Let's see what happens with this. Bitcoin hanging on for dear life here, guys. All right. My last ditch effort long here. All right. Let's see how she's going to play. All righty. Shout out to everyone in the chat. All right, guys. It's been a great stream. I have to head out. I have to get out while the sun's out. Take care of the farm. All right. Got to feed the animals and all that because it's been raining and I've been putting that off. So God bless everybody in the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah. If you're in the Casper Crew VIP Discord, tomorrow is game day in the Casper Crew VIP Discord at jasoncaspertrading.com, where we give our dang trade setups in advance, like the short from the exact dang top. All right. We're going to be giving away thousands of dollars tomorrow in the Casper Crew VIP Discord. So make sure to check it out if you're interested. Also, got to shout out KCEX, lowest fees in the game, BLOFIN and WEEX. That being said, God bless y'all, and I'll see you next time. Peace!